Good evening, world. Drew Hernandez here. Hopefully one of your favorite hosts here on YouTube. Sorry, guys, for the delay. We actually recently have had to move our podcast studio location as of recently. So sorry, guys, if we've been away for a few days. It's been about a week, or I don't know how long it's been since I've done a podcast, but we're trying to work out some, technical difficulties with our new equipment, stuff we have going on here in this new studio. So please forgive us if things sound a little different tonight. Hopefully we're looking good with visuals, and hopefully we sound good as well tonight. But there is a lot that I wanted to get into tonight. And the reason why I kind of skipped an intro video is because the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about Trump's press conference today for a whole host of reasons. And part of those reasons, you can actually tell, has the Trump campaign, Trump's lawyers have Joe Biden on their heels. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, out of nowhere, after Trump's press conference today with his legal team, Joe Biden's campaign relaunched their fundraising efforts on his website to challenge or to defend against Trump's legal efforts. So we're going to get into that tonight, guys. I just want to welcome you guys to the podcast. If you're new to the podcast, make sure to subscribe below and make sure to destroy the like button tonight to let the algorithm know that you want to continue to see these videos. And you want to continue to see this content and this podcast. If you like it, make sure to hit the like button below. Make sure to leave a comment below. As always, at the end of every single show, we do super chats. At the end of every single show, if you'd like to support this channel, support this podcast, make sure to leave a super chat. I don't monetize this podcast because obviously I'm extremely deboosted, even after being on Tucker Carlson 4 times, all over Fox News. Our last coverage, our last coverage in DC totals on Twitter, we gained over 20 million views, all organic. So, it makes no sense that the numbers on this podcast are so low. Number one, because I've been all over the place. Number two, because it's a great podcast and I say things that they don't want to be said. So if you'd like to support this podcast, you can through Super Chats, ask a question. If you want to say something, leave it below. Also, you can use Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and also you can support me on Patreon monthly if you would like to as well. So all those links are in the description below. So if you would like to, that's how you can support this channel. So let's get into this. And I wanted to start with an article, but I'm going to play you guys a clip. But first, I'm going to start with this article. If we can get this article up on the screen. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, let's get that up. So Trump's press conference today with his legal team. 9 key points. This is from Breitbart. Breaks it down pretty well for you guys. We're just going to go over this real briefly, but there's one particular point that was brought up today by Trump's legal team, by Sidney Powell, that I believe was possibly alluding to the Kraken that she's been claiming she's had, because it absolutely, this goes beyond voter fraud. This is foreign interference. This is election meddling from a foreign country. And if the Democrats are in unison with this is literally collusion. So we're going to get to that. And that's kind of what really stuck out to me today. But I want to go over all the points very briefly, because the mainstream media is not talking about it tonight for obvious reasons. And all of the leftists on Twitter are saying, come on, just get over it. Cry more. You lost. Now all of a sudden you guys are saying that this has been rigged. I mean, really think about it. Honestly, think about this for 2 seconds. If there really wasn't anything here, how come all of a sudden Joe Biden's campaign has relaunched fundraising in order to combat Trump's legal efforts? Want to know why? Because there's something there. Period. So let's take a look at this. 9 key points from Trump campaign press conference on challenges to election results. Obviously today, Rudy Giuliani and other lawyers representing President Trump's campaign outlined their case Thursday that the November 3rd presidential election was so deeply flawed in several key states that the results should be overturned in the president's favor. Giuliani said there was a pattern to the alleged irregularities in key states that suggested, he said, a plan from a centralized place to commit voter fraud in cities controlled by Democrats. He's saying that because there's an obvious pattern when you look at each of the states. He said widespread adoption of vote by mail had allowed Democrats to take big city corruption practices nationwide. They picked the places where they could get away with it. Here are the key allegations the lawyers presented. Number 1, observers were allegedly prevented from watching mail-in ballots being opened. This is by the hundreds of thousands. So I'm going to explain this right now. Giuliani said that many mail-in ballots were opened without observers being able to check that they were properly signed, a key protection against fraud. Those votes, he said, were null and void. That would be in the hundreds and thousands. If this goes to court and this actually wins, a lot of people are going to be pissed. I'm going to explain this right now, especially where the envelopes had been discarded, making recounts useless. Now, let's get the main camera up real quick. Make sure to go back and forth with these 2 cameras. Why is this important? This is important because this is possibly in the hundreds of thousands of ballots. Now, you're seeing people like AOC. You're hearing mainline Democrats take to Twitter. They're going on mainstream news right now. They're saying, oh, Republicans are so racist, and they're attempting to take away the civil rights of black people by discrediting and absolutely just undermining their votes. Because this is the main argument that they're looking to, that Giuliani is making, as to how they're going to come out and start to say Republicans are racist, they're undermining black people's votes in these regions, and this is totally just racist, bigotry, and this has everything to do with going against black people and voting, okay? Now, let me point this out to you. The reason why this is ridiculous is because by law, Democrats have to let Republicans stand right next to the voter counts, not in the same room. They have to be able to visually see on a piece of paper whether the vote is for Joe Biden or for Donald Trump and whatever the rest of the ticket is. It's called accountability. By law, they have to allow them to do this. So they didn't allow them to do this. They put them in the same room, like more than 50 feet away. Nobody can see a freaking ballot at that point. And at that point, that becomes against the law. And this was hundreds of thousands of ballots. So let me pause real quick. This has nothing to do with black people. This has nothing to do with undermining civil rights of black people's votes. If anything, let's be honest here, who should we hold accountable? If this wins in court and hundreds of thousands of ballots become null and void, who's to blame here? Is it Rudy Giuliani? Is it Donald Trump? Who would be to blame for this? It would be the moronic supervisor that broke the damn law. That's who you would blame. Not Rudy Giuliani, not Republicans, not Donald Trump. It's not their fault that Democrats, some moron, some supervisor that allowed this to happen, which are obviously Democrats because Democrats weren't given this treatment. Republicans were pushed 50 feet away, which is unconstitutional. That's not accountability. You cannot see the freaking ballot from 50 feet away. There's even video of Republicans that were given binoculars. Are you serious? Let me say this. If this argument stands in court and hundreds of thousands of ballots are rendered null and void, it's not going to be Rudy Giuliani's fault. It's going to be the supervisor that broke the law. So you blame whoever the hell that was. Whoever that was that broke that law is to blame. So all of the hundreds of thousands of, hey, even black people, whatever, who do you blame in this situation? Do you blame Rudy Giuliani for breaking the law? No. Do you blame Donald Trump? Blame the supervisor that allowed this. Period. AOC, all these Democrats that are coming out and saying, oh, this is racist and this is undermining black people and their votes. No, it's not. The idiot that chose to break this law and allow this is the one to blame. So all the black people that are on the left and triggered right now, thinking that their vote is being undermined, it's not Rudy Giuliani or Trump that's done it. It's actually the supervisor that allowed the law to be broken. What do they have to hide? Let's go back to the Breitbart article. Let's look at the second point. Number 2, allegedly unequal application of the law in Democrat counties. In Pennsylvania, whose state Supreme Court created new relaxed voting rules before the election, Giuliani alleged that absentee voters in Democratic counties were allowed to cure defects in their ballots, while voters in Republican counties, which obeyed the state law as written, were not. Let's keep this up. Were not. Let's look at number 3. Voters allegedly arrived at the polls to discover other people had voted for them. Giuliani said that many provisional ballots cast in Pittsburgh were submitted by people who showed up to vote in person, only to be told that they had voted already. He alleged that Democrats had filled out absentee ballots for other people, hoping they would not show up. Now, what is the number on this thing? We don't know yet. We're waiting for the numbers to be given to us. We're waiting for the specific cases to all be shown, and that's going to have its day in court. A lot of leftists sit here and say, oh, they're not showing it because it's not court. You're not in court. Like, how stupid can you be? All these leftists and pundits on the left, on the media, are sitting here. Oh, they go on a press conference and they're not even showing like hundreds of because they're not in court. They're not. This is the court of, if anything, when they go on TV, this is the people's opinion. That's what this is. That's not law. CNN is not law. Even Fox News is not law. They're not the ones that declare what is true, what is right. They don't issue judgment. This is why Rudy Giuliani and all of Trump's legal team are not obligated to show all of the evidence at this point on freaking live TV. Wait till it goes to court, because that's where it matters, my friend. It doesn't matter. Rudy Giuliani can have a 5-hour press conference right now and literally lay out all of the evidence that they've accumulated, which is a lot. And it would mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because the court of people's opinions means jack crap. It means nothing. which is CNN, which is MSNBC, which is all of social media, which is Twitter, which is all of the lefties on the left that are living in freaking la land. When this thing hits court, and I'm not talking about the Democrat Supreme Courts that are in the states. When this goes to the big time, which it just very well may go in that direction, you better believe that there is a massive case that is being built. And I'm going to play you a clip as to why all of this stuff hasn't been completely rolled out yet. They're making claims that they have affidavits. That is literally evidence within itself. A court is not going to take any allegations seriously, especially if they don't have any written affidavits. People swear under oath that what they are saying is accurate to the best of their knowledge. People can go to jail for something like that. I think it's like more than like 5 years, 10 years in some states. I'm not sure. So some pretty serious things are happening. The claims that they're making are tied to some serious laws that if they're broken, a lot of people could end up going to jail. And I'm going to be honest with you, if these people are lying, then screw all of them. If Rudy Giuliani is lying, screw him. If Sidney Powell is lying, screw her. If Linwood is lying, then screw him too. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want to sit here and peddle false hope. But these people are not going to put their careers on the lines, their reputations on the lines. Not just for President Trump. This is not just about President Trump. This is about the security. This is about fair elections. This is about our future, even for the Democrat Party, because someday this could all switch around. We don't want to live in a nation where elections are rigged. And there's sufficient evidence beginning to be rolled out today. And you might be on the left and you're like, oh my God, you're so triggered. They showed nothing. They showed nothing that was worthy. Oh, really? So why is all of a sudden AOC switching up her tune on Twitter? Why is she blaming everyone of being against black people because all of the evidence that's coming out now? Why is the Democrat Party starting to have emergency meetings trying to figure out how they're going to combat Trump all of a sudden after this press conference? Let me ask you this. Why has Joe Biden's campaign all of a sudden relaunched their fundraising efforts specifically for combating Trump's lawyers? If this had no weight to it, then why are they starting to mobilize? Not only politically, but financially in the Democrat Party. Listen, my friend on the left, you have a serious case on your hands, and this could very well end up in Trump's favor. I'm not going to count that out yet. Can Trump lose? Yes. Can Trump win? Yes. The media is lying to you. Listen to what I'm telling you. Joe Biden's campaign relaunched their fundraising efforts. Why? To combat Trump's lawyers financially. What does that mean? That happened today after the press conference. Something was said today. Someone said something that got the Democrat Party's attention. I don't know what exactly it was out of these 9 points, but something was said. What it was, I don't know. But something was said that got the Democrat Party's attention, that got the deep state's attention, because that got Joe Biden's freaking campaign to relaunch their legal efforts to combat Trump for the coming weeks. Something's there. That's all I'm going to say. The Democrat Party would not be doing that if it were not so. Let's go back to this article. Let's go. Let's go back here. Number 4, election officials were allegedly told not to look for defects in ballots and to backdate ballots. Giuliani cited an affidavit. That is literally the legal definition of evidence that can be brought to court. It doesn't take that. It's not that hard. If you're on the left and you're freaking triggered right now, go to your phone, go to your Google, go to wherever you are when you're done watching all your porn and you're done, just going to town watching all this freaking porn on your phone. Go to Google and type in affidavit and look at the definition and see what you find. Because you will find that this is legitimate evidence that's sworn under oath or affirmation. This is what Trump's legal team presented today. Preliminary evidence starting to roll out. It's like an opening statement in the court of law. Election officials were allegedly told not to look for defects in ballots and to backdate ballots. Giuliani cited an affidavit from an official who swore she was told not to exclude absentee ballots for defects and to backdate ballots. This is so bad. And to backdate ballots so they would not appear to have been received after Election Day, to avoid a Supreme Court order to sequester those ballots. See, this is huge, because how many ballots came in for Joe Biden in the middle of the night after election night at like 4 a.m. for like 3 days straight? We went to bed and Biden was down like hundreds of thousands of votes. And then we woke up the next morning and there were all kinds of ballots just out of nowhere, right? All kinds of ballots out of nowhere. What were they dated? You see, these are legitimate allegations. These are legitimate accusations that need to be looked into, because this could be a lot of votes. We don't know, but we deserve to know. The American people deserve to know if this was a free and fair election. Let's look at number 5. The ballots casting votes for Joe Biden and no other candidates were allegedly run several times through machines. Giuliani said that there were 60 witnesses in Michigan, 60 witnesses in Michigan who would attest to ballots being produced quickly and counted twice or thrice. He said that a minimum of 60,000 ballots and a maximum of 100,000 ballots were allegedly affected. I'm going to tell you this right now, you guys. I'm going to tell you, if that's true, you're going to have a huge problem on your hands. That's huge. I'm not saying that this is 100% true. I don't know as of right now. All I know is that they're claiming to have affidavits. They're claiming to have 60 witnesses. This is what you would call legitimate evidence in a case. You need eyewitnesses. You need people that saw it. They all need to corroborate the same story. And you need hard evidence. Now, Giuliani and the legal team are claiming these things, and we will see. It's not their responsibility to roll all of the evidence out on social media or even mainstream media, because nothing's going to change. Even if they did, I told you, Rudy Giuliani can go have a 5-8 hour press conference rolling every single piece of evidence out, and the mainstream media wouldn't even cover it. You guys don't care. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and say, oh, it's not real. It's not real. It's all just words. It's fake. It's fake. What am I saying? What I'm saying is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he goes on CNN. It doesn't matter even if he goes on Fox News. It doesn't matter if he goes on One American News. It doesn't matter where he goes and he rolls out all the sufficient evidence, because it doesn't matter if it's on the media. It matters in the court of law. And that's where it's going to count, lefties. That's where it's going to count. I'm telling you. I mean, you better pray and hope that this stuff isn't valid. Because if it is, this is damning in the court of law. This is probably why Joe Biden's campaign relaunched their legal efforts, because they heard all of this and they probably thought to themselves, holy hell, we got a case on our hands. We got to take this serious now. Just saying. Let's look at number 6. Absentee ballots were accepted in Wisconsin without being applied for first. Giuliani noted that Wisconsin state law was stricter regarding absentee ballots than most other states are. He had alleged that 60,000 absentee ballots were counted in the Milwaukee area and 40,000 in the Madison area without having been applied for properly by the voters who cast them. Let's look at number 7. There were allegedly overvotes, with some precincts allegedly recording more voters than residents, among other problems. Giuliani said there was an unusually large number of overvotes in precincts in Michigan and in Wisconsin, which he alleged was the reason that Republicans on the Wayne County Board of Canvassers had refused to certify the results there this week. He also alleged that there were some out-of-state voters in Georgia and people who had cast votes twice there. You know, a comment that I want to make here is, The situation in Georgia, the Republicans on the Wayne County Board of Canvassers that refused to certify the results, why are they being threatened? Why are they receiving death threats, them and their families? They're being accused of being racist. People are wanting to kill them. Twitter is threatening them. You have mainline Democrats threatening them that their entire careers are going to crash and burn because they'll forever be known as racists. Why are these people receiving such extreme threats if there's nothing there? Just think with me for 2 seconds. If there's nothing there, why are these people being threatened so harshly? Their lives, their careers, their families. If there's nothing to hide, then you have nothing to be defensive over. The reason why they're so defensive like this is because there is obviously something there covered that is about to be uncovered. Because you're not going to get that violent. You're not going to start threatening people if you have no good reason to. Because if there's nothing there, then why are you freaking out? If there's nothing there, then why do you got to threaten them? If there's nothing there, let Republicans investigate. They'll find that there's nothing there. And hey, we lost. Continue on with life. But they're getting threats because there's obviously something there that they don't want uncovered. If you can't understand that, I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't understand that, I really don't know what else to tell you. Let's get that screen back up. Let's look at number 8. Voting machines and software are allegedly owned. Now, this is what really, let me hit number 9 because I'm going to go back to number 8. This is what really even got Rush Limbaugh's attention today. Number 9, the Constitution provides a process for electing a president if the vote is corrupted. Jenna Ellis argued that the media has usurped the power to declare the winner of the election. She made the point, citing Federalist number 68, that the constitutional process of selecting a president had procedural safeguards against corruption and foreign influence. Giuliani said that the campaign believed that the enough votes were flawed, more than double the margins between Biden and Trump in key states, that the president had a path to victory. Giuliani presented evidence in the form of sworn affidavits. Okay? Those are legal documents. People can go to jail if that stuff is false. That's the legal definition of what evidence is. That gets brought to court. It gets investigated to see whether it's accurate or not, whether it's substantial or not, whether it's enough to convict someone of a crime or not. A sworn affidavit. God, kids, go to Google. Go look up affidavit. Literally. Go look it up. You'll see for yourself. It is literal evidence. That is what was presented today. Hundreds of affidavits. That's what evidence is. They're not rolling out the complete case yet because it doesn't matter. When it goes to court, that's when they're going to roll it all out. And you better believe it's going to all come out. Citing too and noting that the campaign had many more from private individuals. Now let's go back to number 8. Remember what I said here in number 8. Voting machines and software are allegedly owned by companies with ties to Venezuela, the Venezuela regime, and to the left-wing donor George Soros. Sidney Powell argued that U.S. votes were being counted overseas and that Dominion voting machines and Smartmatic software were controlled by foreign interests. I believe this is the Kraken, like straight up. This is huge. Powell noted specifically that Smartmatic's owners included 2 Venezuelan nationals whom she alleged had ties to the regime of Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. The legal team alleged that there were statistical anomalies, such as huge batches of votes for Biden that could not be explained except as manipulation, which they alleged happened in the wee hours of the morning as vote counting had stalled. The companies have disputed these allegations vigorously. So let's get this. Let's go back to the main camera. I'm going to play you the video because this this caught my attention when I heard it today. And I know this caught Rush Limbaugh's attention, this specific point that Breitbart compiled, 9 points that was brought out. But I really want to talk about number 8 today, because this is huge. If this turns out to be 100% accurate, she claimed that she had a sworn affidavit. I'm going to play the clip, and you decide for yourself. Let me get this up real quick.
The Dominion voting systems, the Smartmatic technology software, and the software that goes in other computerized voting systems here as well, not just Dominion, were created in Venezuela at the direction of Hugo Chavez to make sure he never lost an election after one constitutional referendum came out the way he did not want it to come out. We have one very strong witness who has explained how it all works. His affidavit is attached to the pleadings of Lynn Wood in the lawsuit he filed in Georgia. It is a stunning, detailed affidavit because he was with Hugo Chavez while he was being briefed on how it worked. He was with Hugo Chavez when he saw it operate to make sure the election came out his way. That was the express purpose for creating this software. He has seen it operate, and as soon as he saw the multiple states shut down the voting on the night of the election, he knew the same thing was happening here, that was what had gone on. Now, the software itself was created with so many variables and so many back doors that can be hooked up to the internet or a thumb drive stuck in it or whatever. But one of its most characteristic features is its ability to flip votes. It can set and run an algorithm that probably ran all over the country to take a certain percentage of votes from President Trump and flip them to President Biden, which we might never have uncovered had the votes for President Trump not been so overwhelming in so many of these states that it broke the algorithm that had been plugged into the system. And that's what caused them to have to shut down in the states they shut down in. That's when they came in the back door with all the mail-in ballots, many of which they had actually fabricated. Some were on pristine paper with identically matching perfect circle dots for Mr. Biden. Others were shoved in batches. They're always put in a certain number of batches, and people would rerun the same batch. This corresponds to our statistical evidence that shows incredible spikes in the vote counts at particular times. And that corresponds to eyewitness testimony of numerous people who have come forward and said they saw the ballots come in the back door at that time. Notably, the Dominion executives are nowhere to be found now. They are moving their offices overnight to different places. Their office in Toronto was shared with one of the Soros entities. One of the leaders of the Dominion project overall is Lord Malloch Brown, Mr. Soros' number 2 person in the UK and part of his organization. There are ties of the Dominion leadership to the Clinton Foundation and to other known politicians in this country. Just to give you a brief description of how this worked, I'm going to quote from a letter that was written, and I will read that to make sure I get the quotes right.
Now, real quick, she's about to read you a letter from a politician that had concerns about this software back in the early 2000s, okay? That had the same concerns in the early 2000s. And she's also going to show you that Elizabeth Warren, Democrats, had the same concerns about this software in 2019. Okay? Just think about this. Just really think about this.
Right. This person was objecting to the United States acquisition of Sequoia Voting Systems by Smartmatic, a foreign-owned company. I believe this transaction raises exactly the sort of foreign ownership issues that CFIUS is best positioned to examine for national security purposes. It's undisputed that Smartmatic is foreign owned and it has acquired Sequoia. They keep changing the names as they go along. Different times when a problem comes up, they just create another corporation and call it a different name. But it was a voting machine company doing business in the United States. Sequoia voting machines were used to record over 125 million votes during the 2004 presidential election in the United States. Smartmatic now acknowledges that Antonio Mujica, a Venezuelan businessman, has controlling interest in Smartmatic, but the company has not revealed who all the Smartmatic owners are. According to the press, Smartmatic's owners are hidden through a web of offshore private entities, and that is, in fact, true. Smartmatic has been associated with the Venezuelan government led by Hugo Chavez, which is openly hostile to the United States, and of course, as we all know, communistic and really brutalizing its own people. The system has been continued there by Mr. Maduro and ensured his election. Smartmatic's possible connection to the Venezuelan government poses a potential national security concern in the context of its acquisition of Sequoia, because electronic voting machines are susceptible to tampering, and insiders are in the best position to engage in such tampering. This letter expresses concern of the Chicago 2006 primary election. And it ends by saying the products and services that are of Venezuelan origin, and evaluate Smartmatic's ownership to determine who could have influence and control over these and other Sequoia products and services are important to the national security of the United States. This letter was written to Hank Paulson on October 6, 2006 by Congresswoman Carolyn B. Maloney. Senators Klobuchar and Warren have raised these concerns as recently as December 2019. Why our government has not taken them seriously is beyond my comprehension.
Now, this is what I want to say is, why are we using software in our American elections that has obvious deep origins with communist and socialist countries? Why there's obviously some kind of foreign interference with our electoral process. Like, unless you live in freaking La La Land and you think the world is perfect, you don't think for 1 second that these softwares that America has been using for the past few decades hasn't been tampered with in any way, shape, or form by any foreign influence to affect any kind of outcome in our election? Because it is literally a fact that these are the kind of software that we use. And these softwares have origins that lie in foreign countries. And these foreign countries have access to our voting machines. Does this concern anybody? See, this is why I started the podcast with saying this is going beyond Donald Trump at this point. Because we have foreign interference in our elections. Did you even know about this before this election? Did you even know that we were using software that dictators have used in their own countries in order to rig elections? Listen, if Donald Trump loses this thing, of course, it's going to suck real bad. But now I want to know, why the hell are we using software that has origins that dictators use, and it's being used in our American elections? Does anybody want to know about this or look into this at this point? I want to know if Republicans are using it to cheat. I want to know if Democrats are using this to cheat. I want to know what foreign interference is taking place in every single election in this country now that is using Dominion, that is using all of this software that has foreign influence in it. That's not disputed. Do you understand that? It's not disputed that this software has foreign origins. Senator Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, they all brought these concerns when they were running as well. You see, people don't understand. The media has you looking over here when there's something clearly right here. Why has this been happening in our country? This goes beyond Donald Trump at this point. This could have affected an election for a Democrat. This could have affected an election for a Republican. At this point, I want to know what these people are doing with these voting machines and this software and the irregularities and the algorithms. I live in a world that is so technologically advanced, I do not doubt for one freaking second that this could be happening. This is huge. This is big. This is not good at all. Nicolas Maduro? She claims to have a sworn affidavit. That's literal evidence under oath. Someone's under oath that can go to jail for a long time for lying about this. She has a sworn affidavit of a testimony of someone that was with Hugo Chavez in the development of this software in order to rig elections. And America is using it. That's what should concern you. This goes beyond Donald Trump. This is what should concern you. America is using software in our elections that is used by dictators that Hugo Chavez was there developing so he could win. And America's using that. And lefties don't care. The media doesn't care. They don't care. Their hatred for Trump has blinded them so much that there are literally sworn affidavits of people that are swearing under oath saying that I was there with Hugo Chavez when we developed this software. He used it to rig an election, and I'm seeing the same. We're using that software. Dude, my mind is blown that the media wants to bury that. My mind is blown. Listen, forget Trump for 1 second, okay? Forget Trump, okay? The fact that America is using this software should concern you. That's why she's using big words like national security, foreign interference. This is a serious concern for the national security of the United States of America. Because if we are being interfered with our elections, that is what is subverting, that is what is undermining your civil right to vote, not a Republican, this foreign software, and whoever is allowing it. Now, what I want to know, and what I want to know if they can prove, are Democrats really in the bag with this thing? And this is the evidence that I think we're all waiting for. She's just giving us previews. Because they're not in a court of law. Okay, Mr. Lefty? Just shut up already. Seriously. Oh my God, they're not showing out the whole thing. It's not because they're not obligated to. It doesn't even matter. The media the media dictates nothing. Joe Biden dictates nothing. Social media decides nothing. The people do, and the court of law will decide. That's how this goes, my friend. So when it comes to investigations and it comes to sworn affidavits and it comes to cases being built, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, the entire legal team for Trump is not obligated whatsoever to jump on freaking Fox News and state all of their evidence because it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. When they get into court, that's going to go down. Trust me. And I'm telling you, man. You lefties out there, the media is telling you there's no evidence, there's nothing there. I'm telling you, man, these people are not putting their reputations and their careers on the line for nothing. For nothing. These people aren't grifters. These people are in it for America. They are putting their careers on the line, and they've been building cases bigger than. Let me play a clip. Let me allow her to explain it to you. The senior legal team expert here. Let me play this video for you. I'm going to watch it with you.
My name is Jenna Ellis, and I'm the senior legal advisor to the Trump campaign, and I'd like to just explain now where we've been and where we're at and what you can expect from this process. So what you have heard, I'm sure, in the fake newspapers tomorrow will be one of two things. Either there was not sufficient evidence that we've presented, or we spoke too long. Okay, so what you've heard now is basically an opening statement. This is what you can expect to see when we get to court to actually have a full trial on the merits, to actually show this evidence in court and prove our case. This is not a Law and Order episode where everything is neatly wrapped up in 60 minutes. For those of you who are here in this room or have maybe tuned out in other networks, clearly you've never been court reporters. Trials take time. Putting on evidence takes time. This is basically an opening statement so the American people can understand what the networks have been hiding and what they refuse to cover, because all of your fake news headlines are dancing around the merits of this case and are trying to delegitimize what we are doing here. Let me be very clear that our objective is to make sure to preserve and protect election integrity. President Trump has been saying from day one that this is about maintaining free and fair elections in this country. It is not about overturning an outcome. It is about making sure that election integrity is preserved, and every American should want that. If every American is not on board with that, you have to ask yourself why. And if your fake news network is not covering this or allowing you to cover it fairly and accurately, you should ask yourself why. This is absolutely a legitimate legal basis. We have been asked to provide an entire case that generally would take years in civil litigation. I've been a prosecutor. I have tried cases with far simpler facts. One thing happened in a matter of minutes, and it still takes days. And we go through a jury process. This is the court of public opinion right now. We are not trying our case in the court of public opinion, because if we were, we would get unbiased jurors. I would strike 99% of you from the jury, and I would be allowed to because of the fake news coverage you provide. You are not unbiased jurors. And until you step out of your role as a journalist and actually go into a courtroom and you are a judge on a bench that has sworn an oath to be unbiased in our separation of powers, then your opinion does not matter.
Oh, that was my favorite part. Okay, listen, let me break that down for you lefties out there that just cannot comprehend elementary, basic, critical thinking. What she's explaining to you, lefties out there, is, hey, what I've been trying to explain to you. What she's saying is what you got today was literally an opening statement that you would see in a court of law. So what they're about to do is they're about to start to roll out the serious hard evidence that they have, because they're all about to go to some serious court hearings. And see, this is what you kids don't understand, man, is like, these are like professional lawyers, and the media are just a bunch of stupid millennials that are like, oh my God, you don't have any evidence. There's no evidence. Where's the evidence? Where is it? And then you have these like professional lawyers that are like, just shut up, kid. Wait till we go to court, and then you're going to see your freaking evidence. That's why she's talking to them like babies. Because what matters here is that they have their case built. And you know that any good detective, any good investigator, any good lawyer is not going to sit there and just put out on mainstream media all the evidence that they've accumulated so that the enemy and the criminal can know just exactly what they're about to do. Listen, don't you find this interesting? They start to give the slightest little rollout of affidavits, which is evidence, an opening statement, the first opening statement that the Trump legal team begins to give to the world, and the Joe Biden campaign immediately relaunches their fundraising campaign in order to raise money to do what? To combat Donald Trump's legal efforts. If there is nothing there, why is Joe Biden already mobilizing financially to combat Trump's legal efforts? You want to know why? Because less than 24 hours, the opening statement comes out and they start to allude to some serious evidence. It all begins to unfold. And Joe Biden and the campaign knows that there's someone said something today. I don't know what it was. I personally think it's the Venezuela case. I personally think that there's some serious issues there. But someone said something today in the press conference that Trump's legal team had today that got the Democrat Party freaking shook. Because if that were not true, we wouldn't see this. Let me just show you this myself. Give me one quick second. Let me see. Watch. I'm gonna show you something. You guys don't believe me? Check this out. Come on. Look at this. I'll show you this right now. Okay? Go. Put it up. Look at this. What is this? What is this, children? What is this? JoeBiden.com. This isn't a troll. This is real. Look what it is. We are relaunching the Biden Fight Fund. Donald Trump is doubling down on lawsuits. We need to be able to afford the legal battles ahead and ensure Trump doesn't win them just because we don't have the funds to fight back. Will you donate directly to the Biden Fight Fund right now so that we can pay for the new round of legal resources for our campaign and for Democrats across the country? And the media says, let's go back to the front. And the media says that there is nothing there. That there's nothing there. No case here. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's nothing there. MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, all these lefty publications, Twitter, Instagram. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And there's freaking Joe Biden's campaign for the whole world to see, raising millions of dollars to fight Trump in court because there's something there. Period. They would not be doing that. Biden's campaign mobilized today after that first press conference, the first one, an opening statement. You heard her. Immediately, the Biden team begins to fundraise because someone said something today that had some weight to it, my friends. This is how the Democrat Party works. Unless there's a legitimate fight there, they're going to fight it. They're not going to waste their time. They're not going to go raise millions of dollars to fight Trump if what they're saying is BS. Open up your eyes, kids, because something's there. God is opening up eyes. I don't know what it is. I don't know what was said today that got the Democrat Party's attention, but whatever it was, it got their attention. And now the Biden campaign has relaunched their efforts to fundraise in order to fight Trump in court because someone said something in Trump's legal team that got their attention. That's how life works. So stop listening to the fake news media. Stop listening to CNN, MSNBC. Stop listening to the fact checkers on Twitter and all these election officials. They're lying to you. I've been trying to tell you this from the very beginning. Trump is still in this thing, and you're listening to lies. If Trump didn't have a chance, why is Joe Biden raising millions of dollars to fight him in court? If Trump is full of crap, if Rudy Giuliani's full of crap, if Sidney Powell and Lin Wood have nothing there, then why is Joe Biden raising millions of dollars to fight them in court? Want to know why? Because there's something there, my friend. That's why. I don't know what it is. I personally think it's this election interference. The United States of America is using software that was originated in Venezuela? And you trust that? Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that should be like, wait, what? What do you mean my vote is going clear across the world and it's being processed by people in foreign countries? Like, what? I don't know. I have no clue. All I know is that something was said today. Something was said today, and it got the Democrat Party's attention. And I'm excited to see. When Rudy Giuliani, you know what? I'll just say this. I'm excited to see when Donald Trump has his day in court. Because that's exactly where this freaking pit bull of a president has his eyes looking towards. Screw the media. Screw CNN, MSNBC, all the pundits out there that are putting out, screw the fact checkers, screw Twitter and YouTube. They mean nothing. That's exactly what she was saying. This is the court of public opinion. Your opinion means nothing. My opinion means nothing. The facts and the court of law and what comes out in this investigation. I'm telling you, kids, all you lefties, all you kids out there you literally believe that there's nothing there. That's a lie, man, because I'm not going to keep saying it. But anyways, let's get to some super chats real quick. If you guys have any questions that you guys would like to ask me, even if you disagree with me, or if there's something that you'd like to say, all of your super chats support this channel because I don't monetize, because obviously I'm extremely deboosted. So if you guys would like to support this channel, that's how we keep this thing going. It supports my reporting efforts. When you guys see me in DC getting more than 20 million views on my Twitter alone in one night, your support goes towards that. That you did that. Real News Gang, you did that. Shout out to Tatum Report as well, because obviously, I work for them, but you guys are the movement. You guys push the content out there. You guys reshare this stuff. Like, you guys are the hands and feet online. So I want to thank you guys. If you guys have any super chats, make sure to leave them below. I'm going to get to them. Guys, ask some really like juicy stuff. Like I really will, man, dude, I've had so many thoughts on all of this stuff, and I love to hear what other people are saying as well. So let me open this real quick, because I see we have a couple here in the queue. Let me open this. Boom. Oops, wrong one. There it is. Alrighty, here we go. There it is. Alrighty. Have Tome. Thank you, brother, for the super chat. Have Tome. Have you seen the BBC Adam Curtis doc, Hyper-Normalization? It moves through the culmination of forces that have driven our culture into mass uncertainty, confusion, spectacle, and simulation. That's an interesting word. I will definitely have to take a look at that. Have Tome. Thank you for the recommendation. And if anybody else wants to watch it, that's the BBC Adam Curtis documentary, Hyper-Normalization. That sounds interesting. XXYY, I don't have the same religious beliefs as you, but I am glad that your faith seems to drive you to have integrity and pursue truth. Even as a non-Christian, I'm grossed out that woke leftist churches hijack your message. I mean, dude, do you see that? Like, dude, like, I don't know if you would, call yourself an atheist. I don't know. I mean, you don't have the same religious beliefs, but it's just interesting that someone that is not a Christian can identify that people that are masquerading as Christians are frauds. I just find that interesting. The reason why I find that interesting is because I was a youth pastor for about five years, and the amount of deception in the church is mind-blowing. People that claim to be Christians, people that claim to read the Bible, people that claim to walk with Jesus that can't even identify a wolf in sheep's clothing if it was sitting right in front of their face. People that can't clearly see that, pastors are like freaking worshipped in the United States of America. Like, the rock star pastor thing is absolutely heretical according to the Bible. One man should not have so much power in a church. If you are in a church where the Moses model is on like freaking steroids and no one can have a difference of an opinion than the senior pastor, you are in a cult, my friend. Period. If you can't have a difference of an opinion than another man in the church without getting canceled, you're in a cult, my friend. Literally. Trust me, I've lived it. Where you can't have a difference of an opinion, you can't say anything different because only the senior pastor hears from God. It's like, I can hear from God from too. That's why he gave me the Bible, bro. Period. I'm not going to have a man sit there and tell me that he hears from God more than me. It's ridiculous. If you're in a church like that, that's a cult, literally. Because if you can't have a difference of an opinion than another man in a church without getting canceled or ostracized, that's a problem. That's literally a problem. So, but I guess I've been in churches where people that like, they can't even identify these things. They're like blind. They can't even identify unrighteousness or fake Christians or fake pastors. And I just find this comment interesting because even people, we would say in the world or in the church, people in the world that are not Christians can even identify fakes. And I just think it's freaking crazy, dude. I don't know, man. Thank you for that comment. That really made my night. DK Records 100, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the sticker. Obviously, guys, everything that is given in this chat goes directly into my efforts. So I want to thank you guys. Let me refresh this real quick before I let you guys go tonight. Oh, here we go. We have another one. Jordan the Dragon. My law school friend who isn't an idiot but has TDS is complaining about the evidence as well. How to discuss this topic with someone like that? Show them the affidavits. I would take it from a different angle. I would say if there's nothing there, then why is the media so afraid of these press conferences? If there's nothing there, why are there Republicans getting death threats? If there's nothing there, why is the left taking such an approach to where this is such a threat? You see what I'm saying? It's very basic. It's very basic. I mean, I ask people, if there's no evidence, if there's nothing there, then why is the media so afraid? Why won't the media cover this? Why won't CNN cover it? Why won't MSNBC cover it? Why are Republicans getting death threats? Why is AOC all of a sudden starting to accuse Republicans being racist because there's a legitimate case, because these votes might get overturned? What is that? Because Democrats see the writing on the wall. You have to point out some of these things to people. You'll be like, okay, well, if there's nothing there, then why is AOC like freaking out on Twitter? It doesn't make any sense. If there's nothing there, why is Joe Biden's campaign all of a sudden relaunching their fundraising efforts to combat Trump in court if there's no evidence? Does that make sense to a kid in law school? I mean, I'm sorry, man. It's not that advanced. It's like, dude, if there's nothing there, then why does Joe Biden have to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to combat Trump in court? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I'm not telling you, Jordan, it's not hard for you. I'm just saying for your friend there, it's not that hard to understand, my brother. Like, come on, dude. If there's nothing there, then Democrats should be chilling, dude. If Democrats did nothing wrong, if Joe Biden, if Kamala Harris did not see this as a concern, I would be chilling until Inauguration Day. And now they're not. Why? Because there's something there. It's really not that hard to understand. I mean, I don't know. We got a couple more super chats. Guys, if you're just joining the podcast, this is the section of the podcast where we do super chats. So you can support me because I'm deboosted. United States Air Force Gunner, thank you for your service. I think both parties share culpability. Imagine if they are both gaming the system to keep a third party away. You know, I don't disagree with you. This is why I find it hilarious when leftists approach me and like, oh, you're a Republican and all you care about is the Republican. I'm like, dude, I have major issues with the Republican Party. The only reason I vote Republican is because of Donald Trump right now, period. I'm going to say that publicly. Literally. I think there's a lot of deep state rhinos in the Republican Party that can care less if we lose this thing to election fraud. People like Mitt Romney. People are starting to point towards Lindsey Graham now. There are Republicans in the Republican Party that are showing their true colors that didn't want Trump in 2016 and they don't want him in 2020. Those Republicans cause me to stay the hell out of the party. So all the lefties out there that are like, oh, you're part of the GOP. Dude, screw the GOP if they're going to screw Trump. The only reason that I support the GOP right now is because of Donald Trump. And I don't care what people say. I don't care at this point. Cancel me. Say whatever you want. The Republican Party is nothing without Donald Trump after this election, period. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. So I say that just to let people on the left know that it's not all about Republican for me. It's about truth. I want truth in the Democrat Party, and I want truth in the Republican Party, and I want truth in any third party. I don't care. I want truth in every single avenue of my life. I want truth in this election. If Donald Trump is a liar and Rudy Giuliani is a liar and Sidney Powell is a liar and Lynn Wood is a liar, then I want to know. But if they're telling the truth, then I want to know. Did I want to know if Trump colluded with Russia in 2016? Absolutely. Did the truth come out? Yes, it did. Did he? No. Did Trump abuse his power with the Ukrainian president in his presidency in order to dig up dirt on Joe Biden? No. No. If he did, would I condemn it? Absolutely. Why? Because I'm allegiant and I'm loyal to the truth, period. Okay, guys, let me see if we have any more super chats in here before I let you guys go. All right, we have a few more here. Zach, is that a Kahia? Kaleha? I don't know, man. I don't want to butcher your name. There might be a special way to say it. I tried. We'll just call you Zach. Thank you, man. Let me open this real quick so I can read the full comment. There it is. Super thankful for you and guys like Tatum, of course. Brandon Tatum is a freaking amazing guy. And I'm not saying that because he's my boss. Genuine. I'm going to say this right now. Brandon and Kareen Tatum are like the most giving people that I've ever met in my life. Like literally. Most giving, compassionate. Nobody's perfect. And I'm not saying this because he's my boss, but because I experienced this and I know other people can, attest to what I'm saying. Brandon and Kareen are like the most giving, nice, caring, like open arms people that I've ever met, that God has used in my life in a very critical time where I needed friends and I needed that in my life. And so, yeah, I'm thankful for guys like Brandon Tatum too, not just on like a professional level, but on a friendship level. Super thankful for you guys like Tatum, Crowder, Clavin, etc., who can speak hard truth on these political topics and still keep Christ at the center of it all. Much love and respect, brother. Yes, Christ rules supreme. Always. No matter what the outcome is, Christ is God has a function, God has a plan, God has things in order that he wants, but at the same time, humans have free will. This is where a lot of senior pastors and their teaching, and they try and get into politics, and they'll sit there and say, oh, well, it's God's will, so let's just sit on our hands and, allow the Democrat Party to keep killing babies and, wanting to perform surgeries on our kids and change their gender. Oh, it's whatever. It's God's will. It's God's will. It's God's outcome. You're talking to the wrong guy. You're on the wrong podcast. If that's what you're, that Calvary Chapel, type of just limp-wristed, we're not going to fight type of mentality, you're listening to the wrong podcast. God has given us free will. God has given us righteousness, and God has given us power and ability to combat evil, period. That's what the Bible teaches. We are called to expose darkness. We are called to be salt and light. We're not called to sit on the sidelines and say and do nothing when there's evil afoot, and especially when innocence is being violated or threatened. If there's anyone that should be speaking out against evil in the world, it should be a born-again Christian. Period. I don't understand why this is so hard to comprehend for senior pastors. Probably because they don't want to lose their 501c3. They're afraid. They don't want to lose their rock star mentality. They have a cushiony little life. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just cowards. I don't know. But I disagree. Now is the time. God has given us a free will to do what's necessary for righteousness' sake. That's the kind of podcast you're listening to right now. Let's see. Hyro Protagonist. Thank you for the super chat, Hyro. I think that we have won, but the fight isn't over. Everything they do ends up driving more people away. I live in a deep blue area, and no one was happy when it was called for Biden. They actually seem more unhappy. And I don't know, man. It's so hard, like even me, myself, like I am media. Like at this point, I've accepted it. I'm like, we just got over 20 million views on Twitter last weekend. It's like I am now a figure of the media. And what I'm saying is, even me myself, I've had to kind of try and pull back and unplug, and I don't even know what to believe right now. Fox News flipped, They've completely flipped. Dude, they flipped hard on Trump, right? CNN is propaganda. Everyone knows CNN and MSNBC and all these left-leaning organizations. Twitter is fact-checking everything. Like there seems to be like a reality that they're trying to, usher in and uphold and, continue going. It seems like a simulation that they're just trying to keep intact. And it's like, I don't even know what to believe. This is why I need a relationship with God. I don't know what to believe right now. All I know is I need to wait to see what Trump's legal team, to see what their cards are. Because they're starting to come out. So even with me, that's why I'm not going to come out. I'm very careful with what I say. I'm not going to come out and say like, this is that, and this is that, and this is 100%, fail proof, and this is going to work. This is what it is. Like, I'm just showing you what's being reported. And I like to point out irregularities in life. I think that's what makes this podcast so dynamic, because I'll listen to conversations. If you've ever seen my Man on the Street stuff, I have conversations with people, and the way that I just demolish you in an argument is I find your irregularities in everything you just said, and then I show them to you, and you're like, oh crap, yeah, I'm an idiot. That's how you defeat people in a debate. So when I observe the media and I listen to what they're saying, I'm watching their behavior, I'm seeing what they're doing, I'm constantly looking at the irregularities in people's behavior, and I'm telling you, the biggest irregularity today was that for the past few weeks, the mainstream media has been propping up Biden as king, and there's nothing that's going to stop that. And then all of a sudden today, here's the irregularity. All of a sudden, after the first opening statement where the Trump legal team starts to roll out some minute evidence, affidavits, the Democrat Party flips immediately. That is an irregularity that you need to take note of. Why? Why did they do that? Because there's something there. There has to be. They're not going to waste their time. I don't know. Let's see if we have any more, guys. I'm taking super chats right now. If you guys would like to support me and support this channel, I do it via super chat. Or, like I said, you can give a donation in PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Patreon, all that good stuff. Hyro Protagonist, thank you for the next one, man. Also, are you keeping an eye on the Great Reset? Of course. It's happening right before our very eyes. Dude, okay, speaking of that, the Great Reset, I think this is the real end goal. Biden is only a marionette. Remember, they always tell you their plans to start believing them. Yeah, listen, speaking of the Great Reset, I read an article or a headline today, and it blew my mind. Like, immediately when I saw it, I showed it to my wife. I'm like, what in the world? The article was, I think it was England, England was forced to have an extension on their lockdowns, I think like an extra 30 days or something, because they chose to take 5 days off their lockdown for Christmas. I was like, what the heck? You know what that means? Like, speaking of the Great Reset, it's like these people want to control our lives. Whatever happens in Europe is going to come to America within like 2 years. That's just how it is. I just could not believe I was reading a headline that was happening in the world. I mean, obviously we know this happens in like Cuba and Venezuela and North Korea, but it was just surreal to wake up to a headline, mainstream news in America, saying that Europe is going to have to, take an extension on their lockdown because they took 5 days off of their lockdown for Christmas. You know what that means? That's like saying, like, okay, you want 5 days off? Well, you're going to be punished for 30 more days. That's the government. The Great Reset starts with removing Donald Trump. And the reason why the Great Reset wants to remove Donald Trump is because Donald Trump represents freedom. That's what America is the beacon of in the world. That's why people flee to this country. That's why people refuge to this country. That's why people leave all that they have in their crap countries, because they want to come here. Because it's the greatest country on the face of planet Earth. What am I saying? What I'm saying is Donald Trump is the last thing standing in between the deep state and the Great Reset and the entire communist, neo-com, just complete subversion, authoritarian rule that the Democrat Party and the left want to usher in through people like AOC and Ilhan Omar and Kamala Harris and these people that are down with it, and Hillary Clinton. People don't realize what's at stake. But here's one thing that I do want to say. It doesn't stop with Donald Trump. After what I saw in D.C. last weekend, hundreds of thousands of people with Trump gear, you can't get rid of that. Donald Trump opened something that cannot be put away. Donald Trump opened an artery in this country that bleeds America by the millions. And that is not going away. I can guarantee you that. They can take out Donald Trump tomorrow, but the MAGA movement, the Patriots, are going nowhere. You better believe that. And I think that's what the Democrat Party is miscalculating. That is what the deep state is miscalculating. I think that's their miscalculation that they're making when it comes to their, world dominating plan. Patriots, real born again Christians that are not cowards, are going to stand in the gap when it's necessary, when tyranny is just full blown knocking on our door. It's knocking on our door right now, but when it just knocks the door down. I think they're miscalculating that. They want to take our guns. They want to take our freedoms. They want to stuff us in a home. We can't have Thanksgiving anymore in California. You can't have more than X amount of people, but Governor Gavin Newsom sits there in his high castle having a dinner and then goes on mainstream news and nobody cares. It's the world you live in. But the Patriots are going nowhere. You're not taking my freedom without a fight. I'll tell you that right now. Let me refresh this. Okay, we have a couple more right here. Have Tome, thank you so much for the super chat. Have you seen, is this the same one? Yeah, I think I already read that. Oh, okay. Have you seen Adam Curtis documentary Hyper Normalization? It moves through the culmination of forces that has driven our culture into mass uncertainty, confusion, speculation, and simulation. Yes. Thank you for that. United States Air Force Gunner, thank you for the second super chat. What makes me think there is a lot of validity to this is that it is really hard to do the right thing when your career or safety is at stake. These people are putting it on the line, signing sworn affidavit. Yes, that's what the media won't talk about. You don't do that. There are a lot of people with sworn affidavits right now that are willing to swear under oath to go to court to testify of everything that they are claiming. That's punishable by law. You can go to jail for lying about this kind of stuff. Interesting. You know, I might be wrong about this, but I don't even think the Democrats went that far in their accusations against Trump and the Russia collusion, the Russia hoax, or the Ukraine scandal. Just hear me out on this. The Trump campaign is claiming to have hundreds of affidavits sealed under oath, which is legitimate evidence to roll out in court. Democrats never had that. They didn't even try and fabricate that. Like when they went after him with the Russian hoax and the Ukraine scandal, they didn't have that, but they didn't even try and fabricate that. Why? It's punishable by law. But to say that they're lying, to say that Giuliani, to say that this is fake and a hoax, this is punishable by law, dude. Like, this is, I'm just thinking out loud right now, guys. We're just having like you're just chilling in my living room right now talking politics. But let me see if we have any more. That's why I like the vibe of this show. If you have any more super chats, drop it below. I will take maybe a couple more before I head out. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We will keep this podcast more consistent. We had to move the studio, so thank you guys for being patient. But yes, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will continue this next week. So make sure to subscribe, like this video, share this video with everyone that you know. People that agree or disagree with you, that's fine. But make sure you guys, every time that you see these videos, make sure to share everything and follow me on Twitter to see my real news reporting at Lives Matter Show and my Parler right now. Go to my Parler after this show, Lives Matter Official, and follow me. I'm looking into Rumble right now. We just got this new studio in, so we're looking at our options. But also make sure to follow me on Instagram at Lives Matter Show and Facebook, Lives Matter. And guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't and to share the video. And until next time, my friends, I will see you guys on the flip side. And always, like always, America, stay free.